I was bored and miserable until I was cooking food for people.
Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come.
This or that. This or that. This or that.
Come on, who's the black sheep? What's the black sheep? Know not who I am or when I'm coming, so you sleep. Wasn't in my realm or wasn't in your sphere. Knew not who I was, but listen here. The choice is yours.
You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this because this is kind of fat.
Where's the black sheep? Here's the black sheep. Even if we wanted to, the flock cannot be weak. Watch me swing like this. Watch it, I swing it like that. Because in fact, on me it might not attract.
This or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this because this is where it's at. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this because this is kind of fat.
Do, da, dippity.
Hey everybody, welcome to Black Sheep Rising. It is episode 87. We're coming to you straight from very wet and damp Keene, New Hampshire. It's been raining all day and I've got furniture and appliances out in the yard with tarps over them, and I got my fingers crossed because those things are worth money to me. I am, of course, Conan Soliday, and sitting in the Daryl chair,
Is Daryl.
it's not Daryl, it's Shauna.
Close enough. Pretty close.
She is channeling her inner Daryl, and I'm waiting for blow-ups at any second. I'm waiting to get yelled at for not clicking a button fast enough or whatever, and so I'm ready. Hey,
Practically the same person.
I'm ready.
Pretty much, yeah.
Of course, that is Rapture for the third episode in a row. Last episode, which was a month ago, we were going to talk about this conspiracy
I don't
video,
know.
which
I
I
don't even-
still haven't watched.
I don't even know it.
And we talked about it, and we plugged it, and we were, getting it out there, and we did a whole 2-hour show, and we didn't cover it. And we were in the last 5 minutes, and I'm like we're going to talk about some sheep and stuff, and Rapture's like, well,
Bitch.
what the hell?
It's like, bitch, motherfucker, let me talk about something.
I know, exactly.
I could stab your eyes out with a spoon.
He was gonna stab my eyes out, and I was man. So we're gonna talk about it this
I don't have the
episode, I
article,
guess.
but yeah, I don't know. You could probably find the article. I don't
Well,
know.
we'll play. I found it. I keep all my show notes. So
Yeah.
I just brought up last month's show notes, and there it is.
Shazam.
So second hour, we might talk about some why conspiracy theories got it all wrong, and of course, I have.
They've got it all right.
We got to do that. I want to
Why
see
conspiracy
that
theorists
video
have it
too.
all right.
I know exactly because
It's just actually the conspiracy theorists are the most rational of them all, and they does this whole scientific, which I'm not a big believer because people are going to always construct whatever so-called science or what they dig up to whatever they believe. Which I'm not a big believer in this so-called science because science, as you'll find when you research science, you'll find that there's an equal proportion of scientists on this side and that. It's just kind of like whatever you want to fabricate, and you just use your rational judgment to draw conclusions. So
yeah, exactly. So speaking of conspiracy theorists, no, I just lost my.
I've got thousands of government documents.
Of course, in chair 4 is Joe Mirzoff, and he does have the documents. He likes to show them to me, and I can't make heads or tail most of the time. Joe, how are you doing?
Good.
Because you get into these things. You go to these meetings. You look these things up, and you're a documents follower,
And a numbers.
a numbers guy. Because
yeah.
because the truth really is in the numbers pudding. It really is, and if you just spoon down deep enough, you'll get to some of the fruity flavoring.
Yeah, but I like what Rapture said too, because one of the problems with science these days is that it's bought, same like government is bought. It's like it's who's funding the work, and the most amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the it's not even global warming anymore. The whole climate change. I mean, look at where the grants go. I mean, I think you put grants on the show notes. If you look at where the grants are going, they're going to climate change. So of course you're going to have these scientists and these kids straight out of college who are, I need some money. Well, all right, look at that. Climate change is on the list. I guess I'll focus on that. And hey, they'll give me more money if I give them results that are favorable to their agenda. Right. And it's a sickening thing, but that's the truth of it right there. Of course there's climate change, duh, but I mean, is it really the kind of change that they're saying is going to kill us all in 100 years, or it's going to? Or even, I think they were throwing some numbers around that it's going to cost us an extra couple of mil or something in 2100. That was from the Obama administration just this week, and it's like, all right, yeah, big deal. I mean, so are a lot of other things.
I don't know that issue very well. But I do know like drug companies, which is science, and I took a course. They have these free courses, and I took it from Stanford Medical School. It was like writing statistical papers in the sciences, and they talked about like plagiarism and things that people do wrong and stuff like that. And what happened? What they do is some of the papers in journals, which is what the scientists rely on. Some of the papers are actually written by the marketing divisions of the drug companies, and then they go out and they find an author to sign on, who they pay, after the marketers have written it. So science, you have to be very careful that because a lot of science is bought just like government's bought, and they don't get the jobs in academia if it's not politically correct.
At the end of the day, just follow. All you got to do is follow the money. And that is where you will realize the true agenda behind anything that is being forced to us, and it includes the free market as well. So hey, you gotta investigate this stuff and look at the numbers like you do a lot of. So we're going to talk about some numbers here in Keene, some budget stuff, and some the high crazy pensions that some of these government employees are taking. And we're not going to talk about much PorcFest stuff because guess what? I don't think any of us went.
Nope.
No, I didn't.
And I didn't really miss it either. And I've been saying that if I had gone this year, it would have been just to make money. I wouldn't have been going to any parties. I wouldn't have been listening to any lectures, hanging out. I would have just been there making the money off the folks.
See, now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I said, I like PorcFest and just the idea of, like-minded people getting together, and I like, meeting, maybe new people and what, if I'm in that mindset at the time or whatever. And I guess it's just the structure that is the FSP and what the nature of that is. It, almost does become like a government, if you will. So, I mean, but I just take it as each individual. And I even like each individual within that structure that calls them, even like the head people of the FSP. I like them as an individual. I just don't like the group of them calling themselves the FSP and making choices among a group. And because they're incentivized, then they become incentivized by funders, and that which funds them. And it becomes a small government, which it has. It already has become that. That's, why some people might get banned and stuff like that because it's unfavorable to the image and things, so... Yeah, and it's just the nature. It has nothing to do with those people involved. That's the nature of what it will naturally become 100%. Just like the Constitution, like it's naturally going to evolve into this big government. So, in the FSP, I mean, as long as that's around, it is a government. It's a small government, and they have the right ideals. But each individual is what it has
just like what we just finished talking about. At the end of the day, if you want to figure out why something works the way it was, you need to follow the money. And I mean, of course, you can say what I'm doing in my life is, is a result of the money that I make.
Sure.
And
that's fine.
And the goals that I aspire to are, I can only get to if I spend money. So, I mean, and it's the same thing with the PorcFest corporates that, how much money of that are they taking home? Yeah. How much of that money is going to the VIP tent? Sure. How much of the money is going to pay for speakers? How much money is being put aside to pay for next year's PorcFest? Yeah.
The incentives become perverse once you have more than one person. And it's fine if each individual strives for their own selfish needs, because things, I believe, naturally work out that way. But once you have people that have perverse incentives where there's things outside the realm of, I guess, the many, where people are, making decisions on behalf of themselves, as almost like a reflection of the many, that's when things really get goofy.
Here is one ruling that happened this year, and every year it's different. They all have different rules every year, but one rule that really got me was second-year vendors had to pay pretty much full price. They had to pay like $500 for a week's camp spot, and that includes the utilities and the whole nine. $500. But if you were a second-year vendor, you only had to pay $400 So the argument, of course, is that this incentivizes second-year vendors to come back second year. But at the same time, in my logic, in Conan land, that disincentivizes me from ever wanting to go and set up shop for the first time, because I had to pay that's another $100 I had to make. That's probably, that could be, it depends on what I'm selling. If I'm just selling t-shirts or something silly, that could have been a whole week's worth of profit right there. Could have been a whole day's worth. We could have been going to town making some good money. Could have been, half a day's worth. But $100 is $100, and that disincentivized me from wanting to go this year. So they potentially lost a vendor. I'm pretty sure they filled all those spots. I'm not sure. I know they were advertising sometime there that they only had a couple spots left, but they lost me real early. I'm like, you know what? Screw you guys. I don't want any part of this.
Well, from what I saw, it wasn't the $100 difference between being a first year and being a second year. Because I know that, I'm just going to fucking say it, if I had vended food last year, I'd be doing it again this year, because I make pretty good fucking food and I have a lot of experience making it for people in a fast-paced environment. Not at PorkFest. PorkFest from the beginning of being in New Hampshire has left a really bad vibe in my mouth of the entire community and everything else, but it wasn't so much about the $100 difference or discount if you went back in time and were smart enough to do it last year. Mm-hmm. Just because looking at the price tag of doing it was totally fucking insurmountable. There was no way I could front that money, because I'm every week doing PorkFest myself, living free, striving to live free by paying off other in my case, student loans, and becoming debt free so I can be my own sovereign. So I'm not able to do that. I totally still, would want to do it next year or whatever, whenever vending. I mean, God, even when we had your bonfire party without the bonfire, I was bored and miserable until I was cooking food for people. Mm-hmm. But I've always seen,
if you're not cooking food, you're like,
I got bullshit and I got hate.
That's it.
I just stir it into the seasoning anyways. But I've noticed
it tastes delicious.
Good. I've noticed every year that everybody is always bitching about the people running PorkFest, even though it always changes. And it's always people like, there are rules. Oh my God. And this isn't what you're doing, but there's, caricatures who like live up to it, or like, oh my God, there's rules. Why? This is supposed to be freedom. And there's nothing changed. Those same people still go to PorkFest. They still get content for bitching about something they're not doing anything to change. And that's what I've been hearing again, that there are rules, and that's so fucking horrible. And I'm not saying, about the cost of vending that, I'm too poor to do that too. I share most of that sentiment. But I kind of would think it'd be interesting. I don't know if I'd want to go to that PorkFest where there are no rules, where there are no organizers, or all the jobless, deodorantless hippies who bitch about it having rules, if they ran it, to just see, okay, well, how does it run? And that wouldn't be like an example of a stateless society and how it would run. But I think it would be interesting to just let people have their...
Having rules is different than actually providing subsidized incentives.
No, that's
to
different.
Another class of person, which in this year second year vendors.
Every single year in the lead up to PorkFest, there's bitching and moaning and wailing and the tearing of hair out over the fact that generally there's some kind of rule that just happens to not jive with me. Whether it's you can't be a fucking drunk asshole to everybody, and that impinges on my liberty to work out my daddy issues or whatever.
I like the whole drunken asshole. I don't like that rule. I think,
there's always, every single year there's somebody bitching about there being rules. And how this is
not me bitching about rules. This is me bitching about not a balanced system, not a fair system. It's not fair. So they grab up.
Fair, though.
They go and they swoop up all the Agora Valley spots. They get them up before I can call Rogers and say, hey, I like this particular spot. Oh no, it's already been taken. They bought every single one of them. You gotta deal with them now. oh, and if you want to buy one of our other spots, you're going to have to wait another couple months until
We auction it off.
We're able to process you, and we're going to probably auction it. Yeah, it's just a big clusterfuck,
Sure
which
is.
is exactly what it was.
I personally think, yeah, man, you have a tent site, boom. You could, I mean, obviously it's
There's
whatever
your
people
spot
want
right
to
there.
structure, but you have a tent site, you should be able to prop up anything and sell it. Like, and you shouldn't have to pay any extra to do that. Like, I mean, obviously you could maybe
Yeah, but
advertise,
if you're on the other side of the camp, I mean, you really lost prime real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, who determines who gets these spots? So, I mean, I guess it's based on a time basis, or who knows? I don't know how they do it. So, I'm sure they charge more. But I mean, like the whole notion you're in Niagara Valley, I think maybe you get those choice spots in advance or whatever, or these or no. But and I don't know. But to have to pay this extra fee as opposed to because you're serving something or whatever, it almost does seem counter of what the message is.
Yeah,
So
food vendors have to pay more than say
yeah, and I
shirt
really
vendors.
don't. I think maybe for the spots or something, maybe, but
No,
like,
they're all in the same area.
yeah, the whole notion that you have to pay this, and that's one thing under the notion. Okay, maybe you pay this because there's these speakers or this and that, and there's all
Or
these
maybe-
other-
or maybe
but then,
you
then
use
you
it
just
on-
charge that much more of the prices. But I don't think you should penalize the vendors. I really do
Well-
think it should be a free of charge. Like if I'm on any tent site or whatever, whether I'm in Niagara Valley and I want to sell something, I should just be able to
I
bust
thought
out my
that was
tents.
what attracted a
tent.
lot of people to Pork Fest in the first place from a few years ago, was that people were just going there to sell whatever they could sell.
Yeah,
And
Now they're rules.
yeah, I don't like that.
They're unfair rules.
there were rules
They're-
before, and
Pork
every
Fest is-
rule is unfair to somebody.
Corporate
Sure.
Pork Fest
The people
is
running
profiting
it,
off. They've realized that they could profit off of this, and they are. And who knows where the money is going?
they were profiting off it last year and the year before and the year before. They were trying to. I think this year they really got people who know how to suck them dry. And, I think that's how they did it this year. And maybe they'll do it next year because they made that much money. I mean,
what
I know.
were they doing, Shauna?
I drink your milkshake.
They should pay to have. They should raise the prices to have Daniel Day-Lewis give a speech on liberty.
Yeah.
I would listen to that.
I would totally forfeit my that $100 just to be there on the premises.
But I mean, I know that when I was looking it up and thought, okay, I have to do this. I want to do this. I want to find out about it. Just before deciding, no, it's too expensive. The vibe was very like, if you don't have a lot of money, don't
Yeah,
bother.
you just go screw
or
yourself.
as other
Maybe that's
other
a-
people have advised, just show up and homestead.
Maybe
and
that's-
maybe if you get kicked out, you get kicked out.
Maybe
And it's
this is
like,
the way to keep the riffraff out. Just
Except that it
just like
kinda
Keene
doesn't,
City,
does it?
Keene City Council
Keene
kind of does.
doesn't.
They have
They-
the same
No.
agenda.
It's very much like that. It's
if they raise the property taxes out the yin yang, then the poor people want to come move here, right?
Yeah.
They won't want to come here move here.
But they do.
What's the difference between what
100 night
Pork
shelter.
Fest is doing and what a city permit is?
There is no. That's the most hypocritical thing about it is these guys bitch and complain about this all the time, and then when they go into business for themselves,
Yeah.
they're doing the exact fucking same thing.
It's like a little city which they own for like a week,
week.
and they're gonna make permits for all these places, and you can't. I like,
and they're gonna make as much money as they can because, like I said,
because they're pursuing their
Yeah.
own greedy interests, and isn't that what everybody's supposed to be doing?
yeah. Except
So I don't understand.
Except I boycott their ass and not go.
Yeah, but you know what? There was a
because it's a structure of a group, but yeah, go on.
there was a jewelry store in town that just closed, and there were advertisements all over town.
For a long time, by the way.
Right, and so I'm going in there, and the discounts are really big, but the prices were so huge to start out with that it was still really
Kind of like J.C.
expensive.
Penney's. They go, we have all these discounts, but yeah, you start off at $200. I mean, that's no price for a jacket.
Yeah, so I went like the last few days, and the prices were still high. It was like it closed on Saturday, and I went Friday, so. I tried to see I'm going to get the lowest price, when they're really desperate to sell, and it was still high. But you did the same thing as I did. In other words, you really waited. You wanted to go there and vend, but if the circumstances were a little different, they would have had to come down. They would have had to let you in.
They filled their spots, but next year might be different.
That's right.
More
That's
and
right.
more
So
people might be watching it. They might be scratching their head, be like, you know what? He's on to something. That was bullshit. I mean, why did we have to put up with that just because we were first year? Of course, they're not going to be first years next year. They're going to be second year vendors, so they're not going to be penalized in the same way. Or maybe they decide, I'm not going to sell food. I'm just going to do T-shirts, and I'll be another $100 off.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
I'm gonna horrify you. I bought 2 Bernie T-shirts today, and a bumper sticker.
Were they at least muscle tees?
Oh my God! Yeah, not a fan of Bernie.
Yeah.
Who?
Bernie Sanders, right?
Oh.
Oh God!
Oh shit.
You should have been wearing him at
You
the
like Bernie Sanders?
You should have been
I
wearing him
love
at the
him.
Social Sunday. Cantwell would have come up to you and
Wow.
slapped you.
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid of this man.
I heard it was like.
Well, as soon as I get it, I'll wear it to Social Sunday. I didn't even know he'd show up.
Oh
but
God! You'd be like, you'd be walking up in there to be like,
he's actually the reason I'm into Keene.
Oh,
I told
yeah.
you, right?
And fuck you!
Bernie Sanders is the reason you're in Keene?
Yeah, I was in 2013. I decided, I was getting divorced and stuff like that, and the expenses were way too high on Long Island. So I decided, maybe I'll come up here and work for him. So I drove up to Brattleboro on a weekend because that was where his southernmost office was,
Right.
and it was closed. But I started talking to people, and then I'm talking to this woman pumping gas, and I say to her, it's beautiful up here, the mountains and stuff, but the Brattleboro itself is
you were
is
like,
tacky. And she says, yeah, you might like Keene better. It's 20 miles down that road, and that's how I got to Keene.
That's how you got to Keene?
That's how I got to Keene.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Chris was he went to the Bernie Sanders rally, and he just said it was I don't know. I mean, it's just like anything. Like energy of a place is really weird. Like people are like, "Woo," they're like, whether it's a concert or anything, they're just like in the zone. They like somebody says anything, it's like,
I saw him in Nashville.
they're all like,
a lot
sing
of,
hell, whatever that word is, or
a
whatever.
lot of standing ovations before he was running. A year before he was running in Nashville.
well, I definitely like him more than any of the other Democrats and any of the other Republicans, with the exception of Rand,
right.
who I don't like either.
Yeah.
But Bernie is my second after Rand.
If they're going to give
And
they're going
that's-
to give us Hillary and Jeb, right? They're going to give us that. That's going to be our
God.
choice.
Yeah, that's
But-
probably going to be it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, that's what they always do.
But I think if Bernie and Rand ran as independents together, that would be great. That could take on the two parties.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Maybe.
They're just giving us the bone to chew on while
Like we have a choice.
while the real shit pile gets poured out in our
Yeah.
yard while we're chewing
Well,
while
that's
we
the
got
thing,
our
they
eyes
give you a
averted.
facade of this choice, and I don't know. I don't believe it really is. It's just a facade.
Well, so Porkfest didn't happen for me and Shauna because I got fed up with the nonsense and we stopped working on our whole vending thing. And I don't know. I might do it one year, but there were other circumstances involved. But there was one thing that happened that I really, really liked. Two individuals from the Department of Revenue, New Hampshire, came to Porkfest like they didn't know what was going on. And I don't think they lasted more than 30 minutes in there. They were immediately accosted, and they got run out of there. And they went to talk to the manager. And who knows what that discussion was like? But there's a video that is at freekeen.com right now. We're gonna watch a little bit of this. Stop me anytime, guys, if you want to talk about anything.
Is liberty dying where you live?
course.
Escape to Keene
Yeah,
at
Ian.
freekeen.com.
Morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
What are your names?
My name's Philip Lawrence. I'm
Philip
Lawrence.
And yours?
Ray
Ray?
Yeah.
Ray who?
Persinger,
And where are
Ray
you guys
Persinger.
Department of Revenue.
from? What's that?
That's the New Hampshire Department of Taxation.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So what are you doing here?
Well, the meals and rentals compliance, making sure everyone's licensed to sell food.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, because they have to charge the meals and rentals tax.
How do you like that? How do you like that? Every fucking mafia movie I've ever watched. This is the shakedown right here. You got two well-dressed thugs coming up into a neighborhood and going down, knocking on the doors and like, hey, you haven't paid your fees this month,
You know
Charles.
You know what else is funny here? Because he says why, and his answer is because they have to pay the fee. But what Shauna talked about before was that she knows food preparation, and that keeps people safe, right? These people aren't concerned with keeping people safe.
She also wants to be paid at the end of the day.
No,
And
I was.
if she makes her people sick,
No, but if they said the licensing was for keeping people safe, it would be
at least believable.
right. that they had a function that was.
I think they did mention that at one time in the video.
I don't think so.
Well, then they're not good at being politicians and working for the government
because they've never been asked these questions before. They come up and they
no,
and
they've been
just
asked.
Give way. They give way, and they're like, guys in suits, smile and don't say anything. Don't put your fingers in the mustard while they're looking.
So who called these blue hairs? Did they come on their own, or like what was the whole?
That's the big question. I mean, this is of course what Pork Fest is? Is 12 or something? Year 12?
They figured out. Nobody told them.
Maybe
I didn't know if it was like an actual function of the FSP at this point, because FSP has gone kind of
maybe
blown. So
maybe somebody at the Department of Revenue went on the Pork Fest website and saw, they're charging $500 per food vendor. They must be licensed.
Well,
if you can afford that, you can afford your ServSafe certification.
That could be it.
And yeah, Joe's right. If they had any inkling of like how to deal with human beings, they'd say, well, we got to make sure that the food is safe. If you're serving sour cream with somebody and as a side,
yeah, but
you
I don't want to hear that either. That's just equally.
But if I had somebody looking at me being like, where's your temperature log? I'd be like, I don't know, but get your hand away from that because it's surrounded by ice water because it has to be fucking safe.
As part of like a strategy.
And after working, serving food at the CAC enough, you know how to work around crap.
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it really, your future as a cook is the most important thing, because you're not getting paid to make people sick. People are either going to eat. You're either going to have to refund that money, or you're going to lose that customer forever, or both.
And everyone and word would get around, and oh my god,
that's the natural law of incentives.
How do you know who makes people sick?
Well, I mean,
the natural law of incentives.
It depends on who gets on Facebook and posts about it first. Like I wouldn't even care if it was mine or not. I'd be terrified.
Yeah, they're always able. When someone gets sick at a restaurant, they're always able to figure out where it came from, because exactly.
And it hurts the business, and that's the natural incentive to a business not doing that.
Because more than one person will get sick. You just follow it.
Who figures that out?
Well, these guys say that they do, but we don't need that anymore, because we have outlets like Facebook.
Because your internet. So when you have a stomach ache, or you're having a bad reaction to food or something, you're going to put. Are you going to put it up on Facebook and say, anybody else have this happen? This is. It's a legitimate function.
A community can bring down an establishment like that,
right?
By just posting,
just going on a witch hunt.
Well, they can do witch hunts, or they can actually do true. Hey, I got sick. I'm thinking of this. Did anyone else get sick? And they're like, everyone's like, oh yeah, so and so Bobby got sick too.
Sure.
And before you know it, everyone's like, all right, we're not eating there anymore.
Sure. Now, once you get government involved, it actually limits accountability for certain institutions. So it's kind of like certain institutions can make people sick, and they aren't accountable for it. Like they don't get that same repercussion because
you mean
they get associated with the government. So it's kind of like, as horrible as that could be, say like in a private institution where they actually give bad food to people, and there might be some casualties or some people getting sick. At least there isn't the marketplace saying you get immunity from doing that. Like you could keep doing that over and over again, and it's fine.
Yeah, if your food corporation has enough lobbyists in DC,
they'll either cover up the media for it or whatever that's presenting that. But at least in the marketplace, there are naturally going to be vendors that might serve some unsanitary food. It's against their best interest.
It's going to happen.
It's against their best interest, and that's all you can do. People may get sick. It still will never equate to what the current marketplace is of people getting sick, even within this so-called free market. I think this facade of a free market. But I
think we're getting on a huge tangent here based on that, because what Joe's saying is right. That you could say, like, I've had people call back at, Subway or Domino's whenever I've worked. They'd say, oh, I ate this last night and I got sick. Your food made me sick. No, it didn't. It takes about 3 days for food poisoning to kick in.
No.
And it lasts you about 3 days. It's not the immediate last thing you ate.
It's within 8 hours.
It's not the last thing that you ate.
If you don't get sick within 8 hours, it is not food poisoning from that particular food that you're talking about. Within 8 hours. Again,
people don't know what made them sick. Yeah, and a lot of people don't even know that, so they just say it was this, it was that, And
then there's the false accusation from a competitor.
Sure.
Right? Maybe a competitor is kind of shaky, and he wants to make other people shaky.
Yeah.
So this is actually this is actually a function of government, is to keep people well. And that's not. But
We don't
that's
need to
not
Google
what these
food
guys are
poisoning
after. These
symptoms.
guys are after money. Let's see if they say that
Yeah,
they're about
let's go
anything
back to
about
the
health.
video.
But the government, like I said, they don't give a shit about whether people are well
I
or not.
agree with you. And
Yeah,
it's about money. I agree with
Yeah,
you.
these guys just want their cut.
Right. I think
To
I
pay
think
for
missed
the
out-
nice, to
Let's-
pay for
let's
the
see
nice seats. All right,
They
here we
missed
go.
out on a political
What's that?
opportunity.
Or else what?
Or else they'll be non-compliant.
What does that mean? What do you do?
Ian is great with this one.
Well, we'll go back to the department.
Yeah.
He's breathless
what
with
to-
content.
Are you going to call some police? Some men with guns?
Not today.
But later you will, right?
Probably not.
Oh, really? So if somebody isn't paying taxes, you'll just leave them alone?
No, we're going to try to license them
Okay, but if they say, I don't want your license,
amicably.
if they say, I don't want your license, what are you going to do?
Well, I'll go to the next site.
Oh, okay. And then what?
Whoa, pause
I'll
it.
go to the site after that.
Okay, so you're saying you're pledging you're going to leave people alone who don't have a license?
Yeah, dog.
I'm going to go back to the office, as I said.
And then
He
So
totally.
this guy, he has never been asked so many questions, all in the same 30 seconds. Like
he
like
totally
he has right
just
now.
said he's going to give them licenses.
He's
I
gonna,
t-
yeah, he said
that
he's,
means
he's
I
gonna help
totally.
him, he's going to help him get licenses.
That's awesome. I totally should have gone. I'd get a freaking license with the state to
Oh,
serve food. Holy crap!
After you jump through all their fiery hoops and pay
Bull
their damn
crap!
fee.
That's not what he said. Did you listen to the government man? He said he'll get them a license. I
Yeah,
should have
but
gone and I would have gotten my license.
You want to deal
Well,
with?
so he's like the Muppies. Oh, give me the license. I'll break your legs.
It's $60 in a drive to Nashua to get Serve Safe certification in the middle of July.
Hey, man.
Could have gotten that done last week. It's bull
I'll
crap.
break your
It
legs.
is bull crap. I
Pay
could
me,
be selling hot dogs down at Keene Square right now if I didn't have to deal with all this
Oh,
bull.
Keene-
$60. I'll break your legs.
Keene would run you on out if you tried to sell hot dogs. They don't like hot dogs out here.
There's a hot dog seller downtown. He's always
Yeah,
there.
and he's like ran into the ground every other year because they just decide not to allow him this year to do it.
I just want to see the license.
Is it because they don't like his look, or
His
because they don't
looks.
like his food, or something?
There ain't no Indian restaurant next to the airport anymore. That's all I know.
Is that because? But that's because of property tax. That's a whole nother conversation
No.
we're going to get into.
They did not relicense it.
Look at the quality of the video too. It's terrific, right?
And it's pretty good.
What a
For
use.
He's got a nice camera too.
It's got an HD.
He's got HD.
Ah, he's gonna see if you got a license. He's
All
gonna
right.
break your leg. He will send some guy later.
And look at this smug fool. And look at Garrett next to him, looking all angelic.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Manic, yeah.
what?
And then what?
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what
Who's we?
to do. The commissioner, myself, other people. in
And what would the
department.
options be that would be on the table?
If you read the statute, you'll see.
I don't really care what your statutes say. I'm asking you, what are the options on the table for someone who doesn't have one of your permits?
You can stop serving food,
Or else what?
or else we'll, as I said, I'll go back to the office and we'll talk.
Okay. You're just avoiding saying what's going to really happen, right? You're going to call men with guns
I'm
to
saying-
threaten that person, aren't you?
No,
Someone
Yeah.
else will call them, right?
but
It's not your job.
we're with the Department of Revenue. We don't call people.
Yeah,
with
it
guns.
looks like you're
want
here to
your
make
money.
trouble. And I'd like to say I don't appreciate it.
Well,
Please go home.
everyone, we treat everyone equal.
Yeah, you treat everyone like shit. You treat them like you own them. Who do you people think you are?
We're just trying to protect the citizens.
There you
I don't
go.
need your
There you
protection.
go.
I
There
feel
it is,
fine. I don't feel
finally.
like I'm threatened by anyone
I'm
here.
gonna end this, okay?
Figured
No, you're
out
not
how
going to end
work for the
anything.
government.
It's just starting, dude. It's just starting. You totally showed up to the wrong campground.
You got to make that a drop. It's just starting.
Hey, gentlemen, you guys can't actually be here.
All right, so here comes. So this lady she's actually security at PorkFest. I don't know if she was paid for duties or she volunteered, but
Excuse me, sir.
here she is trying to.
Excuse me, sir. I just let you through. Excuse me, sir. I just let you
Jesus,
through.
French fries are expensive.
Sir.
Small $4.
Sir, you're being very
gotta
rude.
pay
You've got
that
two women
vendor
trying to
fee.
talk to you here.
Gotta make up for it.
It's part of the gouging, yeah.
God, those onion rings look good though.
No, it's okay. Sorry, thank you.
We got trouble. Multiple bureaucrats are on the scene here. We're in Agra Alley on sort of the north end. 2 bureaucrats from the Department of Revenue are here threatening vendors.
All right, they're going to escort them over to the office, and they're going to have a 30-minute discussion with the the Rogers Campgrounds guy in charge. And later on that week, he was actually distributing Department of Revenue pamphlets or applications.
Does anybody
or
have
something
one?
to. Yeah, good question. I guess that'll be something I'll talk to Ian on Tuesday about to try to get. I think it's just applications for filing for licensing of vending.
Can you get me one of those?
Do you want to get one and frame it?
Yes.
So this prick, did he go along to like every, or did he just hit the first 2? And like
he hit the first one. That's as far as he got. Yeah. They went and talked to the manager after that, and that was it.
Holy fuck, you're right on, man.
So I think this is the only other time something like this has happened when the Bureau of Alcohol Investigation or whoever those guys are came a year or 2 ago.
Yeah,
because people were sick because
job. That's fucking awesome.
And he really did bring some good points. It's like, or what? What are you going to do if they don't comply? What are you going to do if they decide that they just want to live peacefully and sell food to people who may know that you don't have a license? I mean, wouldn't that be something that you would be interested in? So say you're going to go get your brain operated on, Joe. Wouldn't you want your brain guy to have a license, or
would you rather he just have a big ANCAP flag?
Exactly. Are you going to go to the guy with the certificate on his wall saying he's a licensed brain surgeon, or are you going to go to the guy working out of his garage?
A framed picture of him,
and he's using dental equipment to work on your brain.
No, and
on the reputation.
His office has a framed picture of him smoking weed with Rich Paul.
It's the same thing with here in
If I had a good reputation, I would be down with that.
Are you going to go buy a hot dog from the guy vending on the street?
If he had a good
out of his cart. Yeah, exactly. Or are you going to go to the establishment who's been there for 20 years, and they got records on the wall, and they're in the Monadnock shopper because they're always voted the number 1 restaurant. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, yeah, I would. Well, first of all, I would just forget the whole licensing thing, and I would just go on the reputation. So the person that's been there 20 years, and they have this reputation that has been built. I'm going to trust that over.
But what if it's a reputation in a small town where everybody's kind of inbred already? Or I mean, even in
do the math. I would do my own math.
You don't have time for that. But I mean, even in the Liberty community, there's people with a so-called great reputation who are pretty shitty people.
Well, then I got frauded.
And that's the whole point of having a license in the first place.
Because even in this marketplace,
that's what people are arguing about
all the time, and you get defrauded just as much in this marketplace as you would in.
So then it doesn't sound like trusting somebody's reputation is that reliable.
I think it is if you have enough reputation, or if your sources are reputable, then
all my sources.
If you have if 99 people went there and they had a good experience and 1% had a negative, I'm going to take that leap of faith and I'm going to say, odds are pretty good. And say if I even knew some of those people firsthand, I'll say, wow, the odds are good. I'll go there. Now, say somebody has no reputation, they're charging half the price, whatever. Do I want to take that risk of no reputation and they're charging half the price, or do I want to pay full price?
By the way, that's the penalty of a first-year vendor.
Exactly, and that's what you have
that
to
makes
do
that makes sense. Now, being penalized by the corporates, it's a lot different than actually having to lower my prices because no one knows who the hell I am.
If you're a first-year vendor, you can't afford to have your prices jacked up to make that $500 fee.
Right.
In the end, you need that start from scratch.
But when I go to a restaurant or when I watch a Netflix video or when I buy something on eBay or on Amazon or whatever, the first damn thing I'm doing is I'm going to the reviews. And I'm reviewing the content, and I'm seeing what other people have said about this. And if it's bad product, someone always gets screwed, and they usually let me know by the time I'm finally buying it.
Yeah, reviews are great. I mean, that's one thing that's cool about online where you actually do have reviews. So whether even if it's a movie, sure, some people might review something, 75 or 80%. You might, for whatever reason, not like it. But generally speaking, if something gets rated that high, odds are pretty good you'll like it. But you could even review, say, the reviews, maybe it could be that you might fall in that minority if for whatever reason you don't like that that genre or whatever where you won't like that. But I mean, if 80% of people like it, I mean, odds are pretty good, especially if you read up on what the topic is and stuff. You're going to like it. But you just kind of go on the reviews. But that's that's sort of the way the marketplace has to work. People are incentivized to provide a product, and there are going to be scammers as there are now in the marketplace. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and so who are these guys? I don't know these guys from Adam. They might not like the same kind of food that I like. Maybe they don't like hot dogs.
But they're looking.
Maybe they
licensing.
don't.
Licensing doesn't discriminate. Period. It just says who has licensing or who's paying the government. It really doesn't have anything to do with reputation. All licensing laws are 100% created by the government. It doesn't exist. Now there would naturally be things where people would get certifications and things like that might help themselves towards the public. Say somebody doesn't have a reputation, but it's like, okay, they busted their ass for 6 months, they got this certification through this health department, whatever. That might mean something to the marketplace. So
right, like a certification of brain surgery, where you get to go to this this third party, where you go through their schooling, and you go through their classes. It's something that they provide. What you like that? You don't like that?
No. I get what Rapture's saying. The licensing. It's just you pay money means you get piece of paper means you get protection from those people.
But I do believe in licensing. Third-party licensing, which just proves that you've jumped through some more fiery hoops to prove that you're a better brain surgeon than the other brain surgeon.
I just use a different word, certification. But
you could get county food service licensing through.
But maybe I don't want the piece of paper saying it. Maybe I just want the accreditation. Maybe I just want the.
What do you think accreditation is if it's not a piece of paper with words on it?
Maybe it's just 20 years of being in the same building and having
that's
and winning,
not accreditation.
and winning the
That's a built-up reputation.
It is.
Let me give you a counterexample to what you're saying. Okay, the crash that happened in 2008. One of the key parts of the crash was that the people who valued bonds were bought off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you had is everything you want. You had private people doing rating bonds.
Talk to your mic, Mike.
Yeah, private people rating bonds, right? And what was happening was that all of a sudden, these real estate, securities, these collections of mortgages, they were rating them as AAA, and they were garbage. They were people on the street. They were pulling people off the street.
They're still garbage, right?
Right.
Because our rating is doesn't even make sense anymore. It's just
right. But what happened was all these people, they were starting to be paid huge fees. The people that were rating them AAA. So Wall Street sold to these people, hired these people. They said, give me a rating. They gave the people that gave them AAA, they got all of a sudden, these accountant types were making $1 million a year.
Are we talking about that? Are we talking about the housing bubble? Or
yes, we're talking about the housing bubble.
I thought it was because they were making unsafe bets with people who couldn't afford
the loans.
The loans.
That's the lowest level. What happens is each of these mortgages, thousands of them go into one package, which becomes a bond package.
Right.
Okay. That bond package gets sold to somebody in Korea or any sort of investor in the United States. It pays marginally higher interest rate than they could get in the bank or whatever they're getting. Right. So. But the people who were rating these things, the private agencies who were rating these things, were essentially bribed because all of a sudden the salaries went up and the business went to people who would give away these AAAs. Again and again, you have professionals. You talk about like the Oxy the problem, like something like that. It's doctors that sell you out. You talk about on the Long Island Railroad in Long Island. It was like 90% of people retired, not only retired but retired on a disability pension because because 3 doctors in Chicago signed off that they were disabled, so they got like a double pension because they were disabled. Again and again, professionals can be bought. And okay, so privatizing
at every level.
The privatizing doesn't do it. It's not enough.
But except
that's almost I see the opposite. I almost believe that's governmentizing. I believe that is where there are regulations and there are things that give so special privileges to agencies within the market. I think when there is a large amount of competition and stuff. I believe that goes on to a lesser degree.
You're always going to have corruption. Go ahead, Sean. You're always going to have corruption. You can't get rid of it. Who handles it better? The government or the free market?
That depends on that depends on the individual, because I've moved to counties. First county I worked in, you could just get hired and you could go to work. Second county I moved to, you got hired at, in my example, it was Subway. And then because I lived in Riverside County, I had to pay $24, $2 in bus fare, 5 hours of my day of how long the bus took to take this test to be certified food handler's card. You sat there for 2 hours, you studied all this stuff, and then you take the test and you pass, and then you have a year's worth of being allowed to work. You are getting fucked out of $24, and back then minimum wage was about under $7, so that mattered to me.
Was this Subway's thing, or was this something?
This was county. This was Riverside County. If I worked any other place, not Subway, Domino's next door.
It was just being in the county. Okay.
It was being in the county, and out here, you're supposed to have somebody who's ServSafe certified, at least with their name tag on the schedule someday. But what I noticed was when I worked at Subway, they have, frozen meat that you have to defrost. Everybody out there defrosted it with hot running water over this, like in this case it'd be roast beef.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, okay, that sounds great, but I worked at somewhere else where they always did in cold water. No, hot water, because hot water is hotter. Okay,
Diabetes.
well, I guess. And then I looked while I was taking the test, and it said, I was taking the test, or in the study guide it said it has to be with cold water. So I'm like, yay, I've been doing it right this whole time, when I can get away with it. So I get my card, I'm certified, I have a piece of paper that says I know how to handle food. Talk to my coworker when we're closing the next day, and they have it in hot water. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be in cold water. We gotta, no. Continued. Every single time I was not working there, they'd defrost stuff in hot water. And that's just the good story.
What kind of tests were you taking?
Yeah, math was never my strong suit.
It was just did you read this, and then did you, whatever. Yeah. So, it was just a very simple, I'm probably going to get ServSafe certified on my own next month anyways, just so I have that as insurance. But again, it's the same thing of like, it depends on where you work, who you work with, the environment that you work in. Out here in New Hampshire, the Subway here, no, you defrost everything in cold water because we're not barbarians. Same thing when I worked at Domino's here. Everything was, I never had a state inspection coming into the stores that I worked, but everybody was very on board with, yes, you make things safe. You do things properly. You defrost in cold water because you don't do it in hot water.
Well, as
an individual
big industry,
thing, and whether you have the certification or you don't,
like I said, as far as licensing is concerned, as a big industry, I would want my buyers to know that the food is safe, that someone out there is protecting them from bad food, and so yeah, I would want to invest in some piece of paper that proved that I jumped through some fiery hurdles and I did all these things and I ran it through cold water or not, or I defrosted it in the refrigerator for however long that takes.
That's actually the preferred way to do it. Yeah.
In my opinion, you can invest in private certification then in those matters or whatever.
And at the end of the day, I would be paying for it. It would be a hell of a lot cheaper than these knuckleheads.
Or you could pay.
Or I can just go. Yeah, I just go by reputation.
Or you could pay for it in certification, or both. But the state it does everything wrong. Just like how we're like a lot of these people that are anti-pollution, they look towards the government. The government is the number one cause of pollution. The government fails at everything astronomically because it doesn't have incentives. The marketplace does. Even as fucked up as certain things within the marketplace could be, it's only going to get that much worse once you have an entity without incentives taking charge of it. Like, that's all you can do. Human beings are flawed. They're fucked up. I don't like humans, period. I think humans are fucked. Don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, all you can do is look towards each individual striving for their own best interests, and that's going to be your best outcome. But once you start creating entities they don't have the same consequences, they actually get, leeway from fucking people over, and they don't have consequences, things are going to get astronomically worse. You have to let people be selfish motherfuckers, unfortunately. That's
well,
the best
let's
outcome.
take Shauna's example, though. Did you know, I didn't know, that it makes a difference whether you defrost it in cold water or hot water? Did you know?
I see that method all the time. I never do it.
Shauna educated the public here, but she was educated by government. Okay, she if not.
Yeah,
if
actually,
not
it was.
for-
I
if
worked in
not
a high
for that
school
licensing-
cafeteria, and that's when they told me.
What?
When I worked in the high school cafeteria, that was when they said no. You defrost
Every
in
single
cold water.
recipe I've ever read on the internet says it's either defrost in cold water or don't do any of that and defrost it in your refrigerator, and it takes 2 days.
Right.
If you got 2 days.
But
Because you learn a good value from
But never leave it on your counter and never defrost it in hot
Well,
water.
I think
I don't think it matters because you know why? Because I have a dog's stomach, and my dog's stomach is able
But
to take care
whether
of
government
these germy
exists or
germs.
not doesn't revolve around your stomach, though. There's other people on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been helpful if in the first county in Riverside where I worked, if people actually not simply followed the rules but were aware of basic hygiene and food safety standards. Like there was useful stuff like, it has to be whether your meat is 3 inches off the ground versus 2 inches off the ground doesn't really matter as much as you can't have it on the fucking floor.
Or you need to clean your hands before you touch it.
And
But did they explain why these things needed to be done the way that they do? Or they just say, don't do this, don't
it's
do
just
this,
too
don't do this?
complicated. And if you walk in with
'Cause I always
if you
find
walk
that
in with your OSHA, inspection card, you could deduct points, say, you're 2.5 inches off the ground, supposed to be 3 inches off the
Yeah, of
ground.
course you
That's where
don't-
the government
but of
comes
course
in
you
and
don't
fucks
want them
you
knowing
over.
what really happens
that's
to the
the thing.
meat.
Everybody knows when OSHA's coming. OSHA's coming, like they tell, okay, OSHA's coming today, do this.
Nope. Surprise inspections.
Every place I ever worked, OSHA, you always knew when OSHA was coming. Managers would tell everybody. You can raise those things through. They go and walk through, they get their comp meal. And
We got a surprise inspection at Subway.
I've seen surprise inspections.
She went to pay and we rang her up. She's like, here's my card. I'm like, oh shit.
But you know what? When I have been in any companies that had to deal with OSHA, even playing their certified videos that they play for us, you get this feeling that you're doing these things not because of the customer, not because it's safe for the employee. You're doing these things because we will be penalized out the ass if you fail to do these things, and you lose your job because the company lost so much money being penalized by these people. So, that's what I'm saying. Whenever you take these courses, why can't you defrost things in cold water or in hot water or whatever? Leave it on the counter.
Well, honestly, because the way it was explained to me by a human being.
Because the germs can get in the warm part, but they can't get in the frozen part.
It's like you're slowly cooking the outside. And then, it's really not, it doesn't matter that much if it's just a few minutes, but if it's long enough and hot enough to actually cook the outside while not cooking the core, which will be still frozen, the middle, like mantle, I guess, would be in the danger zone of temperatures.
Oh my God. You know what? I saw something.
So there is kind of a logic to it.
There was some scientist who cooked raw hamburger versus frozen hamburger, and he decided, I think the outcome was frozen steaks are the way to go. I'm going to find that. I'm going to play it in the second hour. And
don't think it's that important.
I think it is. I think it's very important. This is good stuff. Why can't I thaw things out on the counter?
Like I said,
I think it's bullshit. I think it's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I've worked with plenty of people who
and everybody's happy with it.
who would not I've worked with so many.
Yeah, I'm just going to get real here on the show from here on out.
I've worked with so many useless fucking people who should have been fired and me paid more because I was already busting ass. So fuck them all if they can't figure out how to, take a test and circle A and not just put a big crayon over their name.
All right,
so fuck them.
I hate learning how to circle A. I want to know why I'm circling A. I want to know.
I need to know the
but so much of it, so many hours are invested in the fact where, you hire somebody or you're forced to work with somebody and you have to fucking work there because you got to pay rent every month. And they don't because their mom is like so cool, man. And no. And what I'm saying is you have employees. You have, if I were an OSHA inspector, oh my God, I would love that job. But
Oh.
where you encounter people that are just saying like, "Why do I have
would
to
never
wash
talk
my?"
to you again.
Well, then that's the price I got to fucking pay for that pension.
All right. Well, I put it on the table. OSHA, no talk.
Two things. One thing is the difference between a person who will take action because they don't want to make their customers sick, and what you were saying before, they'll take the same action because they don't want to be fined by OSHA. Sure. But there's two different types of people. Some people, and I've run into vendors like this too. There's the plumber, the electrician, everybody who can help you, who will tell you that, oh, you don't need to do that. It's much easier than that.
Or the auto mechanic who's telling you about the inspection bullshit you don't have to follow in order to pass the inspection.
To me, it's irrelevant either way. It boils down to accountability. If like you take away accountability, then sure, it doesn't matter one way or the other. But if people are accountable, it matters at that point. Like if you're going to be accountable for making people sick or whatever, then it doesn't matter whether OSHA says it's okay or not. You're responsible. You're making people sick. No, what business wants that? It's going to hurt your money in the long run.
That's right. That's what should really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but hey,
the marketplace will
the information is sketchy though, because the reputation is sketchy and people undermine the systems like the recommendations.
A business will take
so you can't trust these big corporations anyways.
I know.
So even if they're jumping through them hoops, they're really not.
Corporations are actually like I said, they get exempt from accountability. That's the problem with
So the only thing they really do have to worry about is their reputation.
No, yeah, and the funny thing is a lot of these.
We're on zero. Does it matter?
Yeah, I've got a couple seconds. Yeah, hey guys, got to take a break. We're gonna close on a break song. It's by Yohav. It's called "Pale Imitation," and it is mixed by Tweaker Ray. We played him on the show before. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about a brick. I don't know anything about the brick. We're going to talk about some keen stuff, some budget stuff, and some pension stuff, and some numbers and the documents. We've got all of them, all 1,000 documents. Maybe Shauna will come back. I don't know.
Oh, she's got to come back. She was great. We got the full food thing. She was an expert in the food.
Taking a shit.
She got sick.
Shauna, we're not talking about you guys. Enjoy this song. We will see you in about 4 minutes.
And I will leave a light on. As long as there's a hope, a solitary candle. But in the meanwhile,
Rogers is in charge of that property, who knows what Rogers was fed and how they've been threatened. They might decide that because the people used to sell alcohol at PorkFest. They don't get to sell alcohol anymore, and that might has something to do with the Bureau of Alcohol coming in and waving their baton. And so who knows what's going to happen to these vendors? They might have to prove before they even come and sell at PorkFest that they have, jumped through those hoops.
That's why I'm getting ServSafe certified in July.
Getting what?
ServSafe. It's like the food handlers situation out here. It's called.
Did you say surf? S-E-R-F?
SERV safe certified.
Sound like you said slave
The
safe.
price of vendors is going to come down because there's going to be fewer vendors who are able to come in.
Who can actually drive to Nashua?
To me, if you could pitch a tent, then you could serve food, boom, bang. If you want to undersell somebody, then be it. Somebody wants to buy from you, then so what's the difference? I could say my neighbor comes by and wants to, I want to trade, and they say, hey, I like what you have. We want to, buy somebody the dinner you just made, whatever. Then fuck, I'll sell it or I won't, whatever. But it doesn't change whether that scale increases to 100 people, 200. If I want to trade with my neighbor and they want, then fine, and that's the risk. You take that element of fraud risk as you do in the marketplace now, and you could be just as easily defrauded within this highly monopolized marketplace.
Highly regulated. You can still be defrauded every day.
Yeah, it's highly regulated, and you could actually, even to a greater extent, in my opinion, be defrauded. So, because it takes away the accountability factor, it takes away the competition, and there are entities that, if you even go to the whole food monopoly to begin with, where there's only so many food producers, you only have 6 entities for the most part creating food, if that. You have, what's the popular one that everybody likes to attack, but you have that, and you have like 5 other foods where everything comes from them. I believe hunger is a conspiracy, if you will.
It comes from.
Well, you can make a drop out of this. I think Ian did a good job in that video.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he did.
Because it all comes down to him just saying, "You're not welcome here," and that's kind of the crux of it.
Why after I bitched and complained about PorkFest,
the whole thing where he's saying, and then what are you gonna do? And trying to drag him down that hellish logic of liberty.
Use the Schwartz
of liberty, as if that's true or something. Doesn't compare to him just saying you're not welcome. And the same thing with the neon chick saying you're not welcome, you can't be here.
And who's paying for all this equipment? Taxpayers?
Because that doesn't have anything to do with whether you agree with the non-aggression principle or Molyneux makes you cry at the right times or whatever. That's something that can be understood by everybody. You're not welcome here.
Enlighten me.
I already did.
You guys ready to do this? Let's tie these timers up.
But at the end of the day, you're gonna want to, you're gonna want to buy from who you want to buy from. So, if you want to buy from somebody, you make that choice, right? So regardless, that's going to be your individual choice. You want to, so say somebody, I don't know, not to get too in depth. I'm just saying. Anywho.
Hey everybody, welcome back to hour 2 of Black Sheep Rising.
Yeah.
We talked a whole lot about licensing, and I'd rather talk about some other things like a brick.
Merchandising.
Brick. Okay.
Joe brought a brick to the show. He likes to bring props. Last
brick.
time he was on, he brought a sock, and we were little grossed out. Turns out it came out of his dog's stomach, and so I'm afraid to ask about this brick.
Did that come out of your dog?
No.
Okay, that's good. Wow.
No,
not that kind of a brick. It's an actual
I was gonna say you have an
red
impressive
brick.
dog.
Came out of a house. Maybe it never made it to the house, but they build houses out of these things. Joe, what the hell's going on here?
Maybe 30 years ago,
he was shitting bricks. No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
The government, the guy who was town supervisor, he wanted to site an incinerator, one of the big kinds, industrial kinds, near my home.
This is an incinerator, like they're burning their own trash or something? Or?
Yeah, they're burning like municipal trash.
Gotcha, which is probably not a good thing.
No, and the reason is maybe because you can't control what people throw in it. Are they going to throw batteries in there, or so you don't? And what that does is it fouls the air, puts carcinogens in the air. It's very dangerous, and it's especially very dangerous to little kids, to young kids, right, with fast-growing cells and stuff. But but the Republicans wanted to do this, and I didn't, I didn't think it was a great idea, and our neighborhood didn't think it was a great idea. And I'm sitting with two of my neighbors. One of them's a dentist, and one of them's a lawyer. And at this point, I'm trading, options.
It sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
Dentist, a lawyer. What were you doing? Were you you just the local bad boy?
I was really on Wall Street. I was trading options on the American Stock Exchange.
Hold on, let me show you a picture. Look at that. Look at it. Was this around the same time?
No, that's much earlier. That's at a backgammon tournament in Florida. When I'm in college.
Gangs?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this
was a teacher, by the way, teacher from Michigan. And,
she called you big bro. So this is not related?
No. She looks a little bit like my sister, but it's not my sister. It was my date for that tournament.
She's kind of hot, man.
Yeah, she was.
I'm not mad at you.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, no, but that's years earlier. So that's 1970.
Forget about it.
Okay.
All right. So back to the Joe Mearsoff movie where they pick the brick. See, he's with his lawyer friend and his dentist friend.
Okay, and I'm saying, like, what we ought to do is we ought to take a brick and throw it through this guy's window. We know where this town supervisor lives, so we should do that. And I say, after all, he's attacking our homes, right? It's like, so, right?
Because we work, our neighbors work at this place.
No, it's a neighborhood. It's like it's going to be right outside the neighborhood. This there was a dump down there, and they were going to.
Yeah, but the people who work at this site might actually be your neighbors. So they're actually attacking your neighborhood.
Yes, and so I figure, let's make a point that he's attacking our homes, our children. Let's throw a brick through his window, right? I'm saying this to a dentist and and they kind of vetoed it, and I wasn't going to do it myself, so it wasn't done. But it was just a suggestion at the time. Okay, now come 10 years go by, and my kids are growing up a little bit, and I get involved with the school district, and I get by a fluke. I get elected to the school board. And because somebody stepped down, and the other.
That's usually how it works. That's usually when the bad boy gets on board.
Yeah.
Because a fluke like that.
There were three people for two spots, and the other guy, the guy who lost, who I was able to beat, was he had said the year before he had characterized teaching as a part-time job, so so I was, by a fluke, I was able to get on the board. Anyway, so when I got on the board, the lawyer and his wife, they gave me a gift. They celebrated, and it says, Joey, it says on the brick, they found a brick, and they wrote on, Joey, congratulations, never forget where you came from, love, Barbara and Pete.
Okay, so this is not an actual brick from the building.
No, the brick suggestion was like 10 years before, and then I became a bureaucrat.
Yeah,
right, because I got on the school board, and they gave me this as a present.
Well,
and that's a keepsake, and it's in so it's in my apartment today.
So when you run for city council this year, what we need to do, you can bring this over, and I'll get one of my masonry bits out. I'm going to drill a hole through that, and we'll put it on a chain. You can wear it around your neck. How heavy is this thing?
It'd be like Flavor Flav.
It's not
like gangsta.
It's not that heavy. So not only will you have the gangsta leanings, but you will never forget that there's a damn 15 pounds of brick on your neck.
Yeah, this is a heavy burden.
Reminding
Is that a
you.
threat? Like almost see it as right. Never forget where you came. Like it's gonna or else. Like it's gonna.
It's like getting a fish in an envelope.
Scratching your back. We scratching your screw it.
Sleeping with the fishes tonight.
Yeah, sleeping with the fishes.
How did they know?
Never forget where you came.
How did they know about the brick if you didn't throw it through their window?
No. This was the lawyer. Remember, I was sitting with a lawyer.
Oh, that's one of the lawyers you were suggesting
I was
with.
sitting with a lawyer and a dentist.
Oh, okay.
That was the lawyer. Actually, these two are both lawyers, but the husband was the guy I was sitting with.
Oh, okay.
But and so they remembered.
I'm telling you, this would make a good movie. So 10 years later, You know, this is the reminiscings of young guys, and they're all talking about what they're going to do, and they can't go through with it. And then 10 years later, now you're a part of the system, and the system has dealt you a bad blow, and it's like a whole Punisher thing. And you've got this brick, and you're wearing it around your chain. It's all yeah, and you're going and you're beating up. You know, I love it, man. I want to be part of that movie.
Yeah,
I want to be the taxi driver.
Well, I don't think they should all dress up for city council.
Do they?
They all.
I'm not. This is what I'm going to wear when I'm city council.
Yeah,
long hair.
I think you should wear like
t-shirt.
the wig and everything.
They don't dress up for the committee meetings, but they all dress up, and you know.
I know they dress up for the picture.
Yeah, for the.
Hold on, someone talk. I'll pull the picture up. So all right. So anyways, so we talked about the brick. We talked about corporates. We talked about the thugs. All right, let's talk about Gary Lamino. Joe, who the hell is Gary Am I saying his name right?
Lamoureux. Yeah, he's got this fella was the police chief for many years, and he has a $91,000 pension from the state system for being.
He's not the fire department chief.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not the police. You're right. The fire department chief, not the police chief. He was the fire department chief for many years, and the question is whether that's a lot of money to pay a public servant in retirement. But
you asked me this evening, and I was like, all right. So first of all, how much did he make as fire chief? And I'm going to say it can't be more than 130. I know that this fat cat right here with the red tie, John McClane, who I saw at the dump the other day with his scruffy dog, and now I'm not sure about him any longer. He makes like 130 as the city manager.
Holy shit! As a city manager, makes that?
Yeah, he makes more than anyone else in the city.
Jesus Christ!
So
I think he makes more.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that's what he makes
on paper.
Before, yeah, on paper.
Before,
there's no telling what. Yeah, that doesn't include his benefits, and that doesn't include any of his. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for?
Jesus Christ!
Years in service. Years in service awards. He's got to be making a little extra than that. So the question is, what was the fire chief making before he left his job for whatever reason?
I don't know, but
if he was making around 120, 110, 120, 130, then is 80, I'm sorry, would you say 90?
91,000.
91,000 pension. Jesus Christ.
No, you gotta remember.
What was he doing, saving lives or something?
Jesus
but the thing is that you got to remember when you're my age. I'm 64, and when you're my age, you know I get discounts if I go to the movies. My kids are through college. I don't have to pay for that anymore.
More than likely, if you did invest, you're done with your house.
Yes, the house is paid off, right? So you don't.
Everyone's thanking you for your courage. Every day, every time you go in a store, everyone's shaking you on the shoulder. Hey, Joe, or whatever. Hey, old guy. I don't know what your name is, but. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, but yeah. So these, but it's just it seems like a lot of money for a retiree because Keene is a place where it's really not that expensive to live.
No.
Oh, I think it is. I think it's really expensive here, but go on. I'll let you.
Yeah, but
property tax, yeah. Everything else, no.
I think it's one of the more expensive areas.
Everything is because of property tax.
Because I come from like Reno, Nevada.
It is expensive.
And like the Bay Area, like to me, this was like comparable to like the Bay Area. When I'm like, holy shit, groceries and everything. It was like a huge.
Well, now that we have an Aldi's, it's like nothing scares me anymore.
Butter's $2.89 a pound at Aldi. That's most expensive.
Aldi's is pretty cool, actually. I just found out about it.
Oh, by the way, sriracha. Kettle fried sriracha chips, which by the way are the bomb.
I think maybe that's the ones I was getting.
They're 10 cents a bag right now.
Yeah. Wow.
They bought too damn many of them, and I was afraid that they were actually getting rid of them. No, they just bought too damn many. They're 10 cents a bag. 10 cents. And if you guys are going,
I save on my Red Bull like crazy now. It's $2.50 for a 6-pack. Like holy fuck! Like that was like such an unnecessary expense for me. Was Red Bull, and like I'm like. Going from like $6 to $8 a fucking 6-pack to $2.50. Hell yeah! And it's like the same goddamn thing.
91,000, Joe, for a guy who's done. He's done.
Yeah.
Now
That's taxed,
now
though,
that's
yeah.
where the medical bills really start to kick in older age. But that's it. I mean,
but he's insured also. He's not only got Medicare, but they also have post-retirement health benefits.
All right, so
that
now
we're paying for all. That's on top of the pension.
All right, so
That's
he's making
another-
so here's where the tragedy really comes into play. So he's making 91,000 pension. Now you say if a pensioner gets another government job that provides a pension, they can't get the second pension, or they can't get the original pension.
The original pension. In other words, if you have any job with government, any state which is covered by the state plan, which is teachers, it's other government employees, it's fire and police. If you have another job that's covered by a pension, you can't collect the pension you've already earned.
Question: do they all right? So you're finished with your second job of double dipping. Do they double up? Do the pensions double up and you make one or the other, or do they stack?
I don't. I think they would stack. But he didn't have a job here.
All right, so
he didn't have a job here. The parking job, which is questionable whether he was qualified for, but the parking job is a consultancy. Because if it was a job, if it was a full-time, if it was given as a job, then he wouldn't be allowed to collect his pension at the same time.
So you can't double dip. That's not a thing that you can do.
The way to double dip is you put off your other pension and then you get more pension credits.
Well,
for
in the
extra
case of
service.
Chris Roberts, I think part of his pension is federal, which is the military.
Yeah. Well,
So
Social Security, so you can quit becoming you can get a pension after 20 years, and you can quit becoming a policeman, and then you can go into the Social Security system, because these guys, the police and fire, are outside of the Social Security system. The other employees aren't. The other employees are in the teachers and the other government employees are in the Social Security system. So they get, besides their pension, they will also get a Social Security pension.
So this guy got around it. He probably sat down with his buddy, and they got around it by, hey, consultancy. That's how we'll do it. I'm just going to advise you guys for a year or two. And of course, and you know what? As far as his position has been, I have not heard so much backflack here in this community as this guy as this guy's position. Everyone's always questioning it. I mean, even people who don't even know what he does.
Because his first idea was to raise the parking fees, to raise the meter fees and the tickets.
Stick it to the man.
I mean, which not only hurts the
businesses.
No, it hurts. Yes, it hurts the customer and it hurts the businesses. The whole thing is that the parking system is supposed to help the businesses.
Right.
That's its purpose. And I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing because like if you go out there any morning at 10:30, 11 o'clock, there's all sorts of open spaces. There's no reason if you are managing parking. There's no reason to pay people to give out tickets before 11 o'clock. There's one street that's busy. There's the street that goes by the library and the
courthouse and the library.
The courthouse and the library.
Winter
that street is packed in with parking, and you might have it there, but there's no other reason in town to give out tickets before 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
But
that would be a good idea. That would be a good idea.
During peak hours, I agree, and I might hire a guy for $10 an hour. To monitor my parking spaces to make sure that there were no campers out there in my spots, and to give the tow truck guy a call. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. But here's the biggest scam. If you listen to any of these people, they're always like, well, parking pays for things like snow removal, and it pays for street repair, and it pays for all this and that. No, it doesn't.
I know. Yeah.
It pays for the parking enforcement.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's it. And last year, it didn't even make enough money to pay for parking enforcement
because
they got like 5 guys, and they got all their equipment, and they got all their benefits and their entitlements and the whole nine. Parking is an additional $2 million. The snow removal and the grass cutting and all that. Sure. Parking enforcement is about $600,000, and the fines and the the money made from the meters barely pays for the damn parking maids.
As we know,
so it doesn't pay for snow removal.
Sure,
that's an outright lie.
As we know, the government monopolized the road system a long time ago. So I mean, you could go back and look at all the funding that has gone towards the roads all these years. The government receives all these, or even the state, astronomical amounts of money for the roads all these years. Hundreds of years, at least 100, 100 years. And they haven't provided adequate road structure. Now there's a parking problem. Now they're going to charge people,
but they're really
parking fees because they failed in their monopoly. They failed. They monopolized the market. They're in charge of it. They failed in it. Now they're going to penalize you for their failure. No, they failed. I mean, the marketplace would have provided adequate roads, whether it would have been a triple decker, quadruple, whatever, all along the town. There would be adequate. The fact that there's a buildup of parking, or because this area is full at this given time, it's wrong for them to charge an extra amount. They failed. They've charged people astronomical taxes all these years to provide that, and they haven't. Now there's a shortage of parking. Now they're going to pawn that onto the consumer as well. No, they failed.
Instead of firing,
if they can't handle it, give it to the marketplace. They will handle it perfectly fucking fine.
Instead of doing what the free market would do, like maybe fire someone or maybe pay them less. They don't need to make $20 an hour, or maybe getting rid of a vehicle, or maybe firing Lamoureux because he's not really doing his job. And why does he even have the position anyways? And saving a couple $100,000 a year, instead of doing that, which is the reasonable, logical thing to do, they decide that they will tax the company, the property owners and the customers more to use those parking spots that are monopolized and they can't have. Because that's the first thing I would do. Because if I wanted to start a thrift store downtown, maybe. Hint, 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 hint. Maybe I would want to say, City Council, hey, look, communication for you guys. I would like to purchase the parking in front of my building. I want my parking, and I can do anything I want with it. If I want to put stuff out in my street and actually cause disturbance where people can't walk, which, by the way, I wouldn't do.
I want to buy the road and fuck it up for everybody else.
Yeah. If I want to, exactly. If I want to fuck it up,
you want to make a jump, like you have to jump to get to my lot.
Now this would include me taking care of snow removal. This would include me taking care of mowing the grass out in front. This would include me actually repairing pavement that has gone awry over the years, because that's what happens in New Hampshire. The snow does its thing and it takes over.
Let me give you another angle on this.
But I would have my parking, and I would be able to put signs up saying this is for Conan's Not a Thrift Store parking only, and violators will be towed at your expense. Why is that not a problem? Yeah. I mean, you got meters all over the town.
And if you're making unreasonable requests with your business, it's going to hurt your business, right? And you're going to have people like other businesses vouching against you. So if you are doing something unnatural or unfavorable, I mean, you're going to have people, whether or not a hitman comes to get you, I mean, you're going to have something. You're going to have repercussions. People are not going to like it. So, I mean, anywho. But, yeah, go on. We went a little off topic.
The parking meters are already unsightly. Yeah. What's wrong? And you got the handicap signs. What's wrong with me putting little signs, yay big, saying this is for, this establishment's parking only, 30-minute, or less. Or, I don't know, whatever rules I decide. Maybe I don't even put anything up.
I want to give you another angle on this. They give their own people. I looked at the
their employees don't pay.
Right.
We pay.
Yeah, but the employees don't pay.
The budget, we pay through the budget, but the employees do not pay.
Right, and the city employees, which are road workers, police, fire, and can be computer guys. They're a cross section of the community, just like everybody else, in my opinion. But their average compensation, which is salary, overtime, and benefits, what it costs us is $95,000 each. Okay, 95 on average per employee. These are clerks. These are road workers, everybody, $95,000 each. Now, to compare that to what people in the city are earning, a median family income. Now, family income can be from investments. It can be two earners. It's more than just one person. And in Keene, it's below $60,000. Yeah. So you got the government one employee making $95,000, and you got families, the middle employee, the middle family earning less than $60,000. So these people are very well paid.
It's no wonder people respect teachers, fire department, police officers so much, militaries, because they really are bringing. Not only are they getting the respect of the people, but they're making the big bucks, and maybe they're not getting in there.
They didn't used to. But anyway, but what I'm saying here, what I'm saying here is that we're talking about the free parking. Every government employee has free parking. Okay, they either have a lot provided for them, or it's like, or they have a reserved spot provided for them.
That can't be used when they're not using it. By the way,
which is absolutely against what's supposed to be the mission of the parking, which is to make the flexibility so that the stores will have open spaces. When you have a reserved spot, and private people can have a reserved spot, but it costs $600 a year.
Yeah.
So, but city and what are city employees? Are they any better than the restaurant employees?
These are the heroes of the land, Joe. These are the guys who protect us from ourselves. Of course, they have more rights than us, right?
I don't know. I am more appreciative of the people who feed me. I say thank you to the checker at the grocery store for feeding me.
Damn straight.
Right. I'm thankful for those people.
I thank the Aldi's guys, because I love all them dudes. They're helping the community.
Right. Yeah. It's like so I don't and because of the lack of accountability, government jobs are suspect. So I am much more. I don't think that government workers should not only get paid more, but also get the free parking. And then you go and propose that you're going to raise the parking for anyone. So this is the guy's idea.
They get killer benefits. They make more than the average employee.
Right.
And of course, they get all. And when I say benefits, I mean like health care and stuff. But then they get the benefits as in the unspoken benefits, like free parking, like you're talking about.
Yeah, and the question is like who should pay for their parking? And then if the private person has to pay $150 or has to pay the meter, I mean, you think about this minimum wage people that have to pay this, whatever it is in a day,
or walk to work.
Yeah, right.
Or drive their bike to work or something. Something silly.
And that's another thing. When it's free, they're going to take the spot. But if it's not free, maybe their husband drops them off to work.
Yeah.
Right. So there's another spot opens up.
Or maybe they ride their bike.
Yes. Yeah. So it's totally against the mission of trying to make parking open and flexible to give away. It's like monstrous. It's like it's doing the opposite merely for the purpose of elitism for government employees.
Of course, who are the legislators who actually prepare these types of rules?
Well, this is these guys. This is
the government. I mean, what do we have to say about this?
Okay, now this is a good chart. This is a great chart.
Where people don't drive.
Oh, you want to see the pensions, or you want to see the tax rate?
No, the tax rate, but this is backwards.
There's your pensions. So which one do you want to see?
This is a little cool. You look at the bottom here. Now these are the rates that. Over on the right are the employee rates that the employees used to pay 9% a year. Group 2 is fire and police. Group 1 is teachers and government employees. And so like the Group 2, the fire and police used to pay 9% of their pay towards their pension, and now it's going to be 12%. But look at the employer part. The employer part has gone up from 8, 10, 12, especially the fire. It's going to be like 30% for some cities and stuff that's 2012, and you go down to 14 and 15, you see it's 28, 27%, 29%. This is what fractional pay. If somebody's making $80,000, you got to put another 30% of that. You got to put another $24,000 into the state pension.
And what's misleading, of course, is when they say employer, what they really mean is you and I.
Right. That's what it means. It's taxpayer. Employer should say taxpayer.
Wouldn't it be nice if they fucking said that?
Taxpayer rate.
Clear as day. Taxpayer rate has gone up this percentage in 2000. Hold on, let me get to the bottom. I thought I was at the bottom. 2016-17. Yeah, you're right. Look at this.
Now that's a huge amount. So somebody who's making $100,000, you got to put another $26,000 aside for his pension. And this is, look at how it's increased. Part of this is because of the bad investment returns in 2008 and stuff like that, but part of it also is just mismanagement. And the fires, especially, the fire's worse than the police. You can see that these rates, they're not anticipating either. That they're retiring early or that their salaries are going. I think maybe the salaries go up in the last year because in reading other articles, you can see that they can put overtime pay into this calculation.
Listen, in the school board, he used to be school board member Chris Coates talking about the teachers and all. You thought that they would have been the culprits, but it's looking like it's police and fire.
Yeah, well, the police and fire are Group 2, and they are not in the Social Security system. The teachers and the state employees are in the Social Security system. So the teachers and the state...
There's extra coming from Social Security to subsidize that.
Yeah, because they have to pay into Social Security. You and your employer both pay something like 7% each to Social Security. So they're really paying another 7% or so into the Social Security system, which is going to give more the retirement.
Police and fire are not paying into Social Security?
No.
Can they collect Social Security?
Well, the way they can collect it is that they can retire after 20 years and do a job that's in the Social Security system, and they have to be within that for 10 years. So
you see why I said I wanted to become an OSHA inspector?
You're not lady. You are not becoming an OSHA inspector. I will fight you tooth and nail.
You'd be evil. What a gig!
You'd be evil. Well, all right. So we see these numbers.
That's the future for us.
Yeah, and when you see these numbers, and it's the future for every municipality out there because they're all dealing with this. Unless
New Hampshire.
Every municipality across the U.S. Unless you've got some cities and towns who are privatizing their trash collection and their police forces, and more are jumping on that bandwagon. I wish we could do the same thing. But you see these numbers, and then you're like, all right. And then you see the all right. Where is the Keene tax rate? There it is, right here. And then
how come it's not the other way? I had it starting at 1980. Go down to the bottom. What's before 2004? Do you go back to 1980 on this one?
Go all the way down to 1975.
Oh, this is something different. I haven't seen this one.
So this is our tax rate, and it has per year and has the ratio which they're actually
right. Okay, so
what is that a ratio of?
It's of 100%. So
100% of what?
It means on a $100,000 house.
You're paying 106.7.
3368 means that's your total tax rate. It means you're paying $3,368 a year on a $100,000 house.
Yeah,
and a $200,000 house, you're paying twice as much.
Yeah, but the ratio is of my house assessment.
Oh yeah, that's something. Yes, that has to do with what your house is really worth. Okay, you see, back in 2007, it's 100.
Yeah.
At that time, houses were assessed for 100% of what they were really worth. Okay? Now, and what they do is each year they measure the sales at what they actually sell for, and
it's some convoluted, silly ass formula that they get.
Let him finish.
They get this from the state.
Okay, so this 106.7 means that your house is really worth 6.7% less than it's being assessed for. Okay?
I think it's up. I think it's 6.7% more than what it's really assessed at.
No, you're being charged 6.7% more.
More
than the value of your house. You're being charged as if your house is worth 106.7, even though your house is only worth
100,000.
100,000. Okay, that's what that means, and you can see how that's getting.
Which, by the way, is already a bullshit formula. My house is already evaluated more than it's worth.
It's already overvalued more. That's how they secretly increase the taxes.
Yeah, this is what they do to.
They're not doing. They're not doing this on purpose. They're not doing. This is just because the prices of houses are decreasing.
They're doing this because of the tax rate. They don't want it to go out of control. This is exactly what the Federal Reserve does with inflating the money up and down, is to try to create balance. And you've got these whiz kids over in some other part of the country who are making these decisions. Keene doesn't make that decision. This comes from Concord. That 106.7 came from Concord.
That's a statistical number. That is a number which is the ratio of what the assessment is today, divided by what the sale is today.
Joe, I think we need to research this.
I spoke to the assessment office on this. I went up with this chart and I asked him, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he explained it to me. Now, look over here.
This is whiz kids playing with the money. They're playing with the numbers.
But they're still explaining what
just
they're...
a statistic.
Okay, well, anyways.
Nobody's forcing that. This is a statistic.
Well, anyways,
these other... market statistic. That's what that is. Okay, this thing on...
These other numbers do matter.
Okay, these other numbers do matter, and the column all the way on the right, see city total assessed value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look where that was back in 1980. Go back like many years.
All right, in 1980, we were assessed at $344 million.
So the value of property today is about 5 or 6 times what it was in 1980. Okay, so the value has kept going up until
2007.
Until 2007, that's when it peaked. Okay, and since then, the property value, the total property value, and that's the total property. You know, sometimes the city ends up owning a property. This is the total taxable property.
Yeah, but it also includes my property. So I had my house reassessed and I brought down the value. So this actually helped bring that down. But but notice, news in 2007, the total assessed value of Keene starts to go down, and so does the ratio start to go up because they have to do that because they're playing with the numbers in order because they're dealing with this problem.
They aren't making that ratio go up or down.
No, that's just a stat on the sales. That is not.
I'll
that is not some. No, I know this. That is just a statistic that measures the sales against what they are currently assessing it, and it's and what they want that to be near 100. And when it's not near 100, when it's more than 110 or something, there's going to be an adjustment to assessments. But right now, all it's saying is there's another 7% built in. Now, here's this number here. All right, can I? This number here, 3368, this is our current tax rate, right? 2007, that's 2014. 7 years earlier, it was 2579. The ratio of this is your taxes have gone up 31% in 7 years. That's if you just kept the same assessment, which most people have, the tax.
You're right. Most people have, unlike you, unlike myself.
And I did it for a friend also. I helped their taxes go down.
So the question is, so this has got 30% in 7 years.
In 7 years, it's gone up 31%. Okay, and it's going to go up like another 4% this year, 4 or 5% this year. But what's really extraordinary is the county. See this 193 to 332. The county's gone up 72% in 7 years. That's probably the building of the jail. I mean, I don't know what that is, but
and actually, the state school portion actually went down just a couple pennies this year. The question is, Joe, is this sustainable? Can we do another 30% in 7 years?
Yes, we can very easily. If they don't change things. They don't change things. But there's three problems.
When I say can we, I mean, will the people? It's gonna it will happen. Will the people put up with it, and can the people actually survive it?
Yeah, they can't. They can't. But there's 3 problems. Okay, the city's 3 problems are this: they have too many employees, they pay them too much,
too many buildings,
and there's too much outside building and work. Okay, those are the 3 things that are driving up this tax rate. Now, what happened this year? What I tried to do at the budget?
But they're building an ice ring, Joe. That's going to help everything, right?
And a fish farm. You know, and Janet studies food. You know, and she says she doesn't eat fish if it comes from a fish farm. In other words, she thinks it's like. Like
they're they're swimming in their own shit.
Right. It's like the chickens that are too close together.
They're eating each other.
Right. And they have to give them hormones because there's disease. And not only that, but when they do that, if that stuff escapes, as it often does, to the outside, it makes the fish that aren't even in the fish farm.
They got to kill them all off anyways. And you know what? And they're not even raising fish that are native to the land. They're raising tilapia, which are a southern fish. Why don't they raise like trout or something?
Because they want a fish that's efficient with the fish farm.
They want something that's easy to grow.
Efficient.
Tilapia are easy to grow and they're easy to procreate.
Yeah.
However,
Such
they're
a
not
bad joke,
native
I
to the
found.
land, so I mean they have to heat the water. You wouldn't have to heat the water with trout.
Yeah. Well, they
So
I think it's a crazy idea.
And it will probably happen in the next 1 or 2 years, these people are crazy.
Okay, so here's the opportunity that
Let me show a picture of him again. These people are fucking crazy. They're trying to make our lives better, Joe.
Yeah.
Why don't they fucking get out of my lives?
I'll tell you what I tried to do this year.
What is the opportunity you're about to say?
Okay, this year.
Channel and Daryl.
I was at a meeting and I was thinking I was going to speak on something else, but I wasn't going to be allowed to speak on it. And the human resources person comes up and says, I want to give all these people who aren't in unions, I want to give them a 2.5% raise because the police and fire are getting a 2.5% raise this year. And these are like the computer guys and stuff like that. And so she wants to give, so I go up and I say,
By the way, real quick, what is the rate of inflation in this country? Like 0.7 or 0.5 or something? It's not even. It's not a whole lot.
I don't know, but all I know is that the city employees are paid much better than the people paying the bills. Okay,
and they're always paid better than regular inflation.
Yeah.
So you can't use that as an example because they're always paid like 2 or 3 times more than the regular rate of inflation.
Yeah, that's generally true. And but here, so what I said to them was, you don't have to give these people raises. They're not contractual. In other words, like the police and fire, they're by contract, so they have to. They made a contract. They got to give them the raises. So I said, if you don't give these raises, then you're going to be in a better bargaining position when it comes to negotiating the contract. If you give the raises, then when the police and fire come up and the teachers and stuff, they're going to all want raises too, and they're already very well.
It's a vicious cycle,
right? But they had an opportunity
That's a really
here
good
to
point.
say no because they didn't have to give this, right?
But it's not their money, right? I mean,
but so the
Well, did they or did they
point,
not?
Rapture. It's not their fucking money.
Good way to recite the dogma over and over. Did they get the raises or did they not get the raises?
Well, the committee voted 5-0 to give them the raises.
Yay.
And when it came to the full council, they voted 15-0 to give them. Now, some of the other stuff they voted like 8-7. They were trying to, get rid of Gary Lemero's job, and they were trying to get rid of this other job, and those were 8-7 votes. So contentious. But here, with the most important thing, which is controlling the growth of salaries that are already high, that are also going to make pensions high, when it's the most important thing, they don't do anything about it.
And they overwhelmingly destroy any opportunity for later on controlling costs and being responsible.
Right, exactly.
It sounds like they're just as clueless as Keeniacs about this type of stuff.
These people. This is not what they do.
Which is actually kind of a relief.
They're just going
Nobody
by their own
knows how to
hard
do this.
instincts, and they're wrong. And they need to be going. And they don't have any stake in the game. If they fuck up and they make a bad decision, they'll just get voted out, and some other fuckhead will get voted in. They don't. There's no actual consequences. It's not like they're actually CEOs that are going to lose their jobs if they make a bad decision. It's not like they're shareholders who actually have a stake in the fish farm who actually lose a whole shit ton of money because they made a bad decision. No, it's just our money. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and I hate to be cliche with it. I mean, but it keeps coming down to incentives. I mean, if they're not incentivized, then fuck it. 9%, 18%, give it to them. Like, there's no incentive. I mean,
hey, you know what? If it'll make the Juggalos move out of town, double benefit.
Well, then we just close down.
All we want is Richards living here, right?
That's actually a pretty good incentive.
You think so?
What's that?
Have you ever actually lived in a shitty area? It's kind of shitty.
Well, I don't live on Church Street. Joe, are we going to watch this silly thing? It's 3 minutes, 31 seconds.
I guess, yeah. This Chaunch bugs me, but I don't have the other article in my hand.
Before I get in trouble again, inviting Rapture back on to talk about this video that we didn't play last month.
Okay, I'll just get my
no
blood.
shit study. Scientists show conspiracy theorists will believe anything. This is by Rebecca Watson. Don't know who the hell she is.
I've spoken in the past about how social media can be a breeding ground for pseudoscientific misinformation.
As
and
well as
now
government
there is a
information.
brand new study that also claims to
A
look
government
into
study.
the Facebook echo
Would you let her
chamber
talk?
that
Stop
conspiracy
being a
theorists
misogynist.
live in. And the researchers are claiming that it's so bad that these conspiracy theorists can't even tell when they're being made fun of. Italian researchers demonstrated this by looking at thousands of users who commented on either science news pages or conspiracy theory pages. And what they found was that the people who commented on conspiracy theory pages, by and large, did not interact with any other kinds of pages. So that's that echo chamber effect that we talked about before. But the fun part of the study came next, when the researchers posted nearly 5,000 troll comments to both the science pages and the conspiracy pages. And in these comments, they tried to make completely ridiculous, unsubstantiated rumors that could really only be taken
Snake
as
people.
satire of the conspiracy theories.
The snake
so,
Jews.
for instance, one of them was the idea that chemtrails, which are more sanely known as contrails, that's the water
No,
vapor.
chemtrails are chemtrails.
It's a different word that she
sometimes
uses.
in the right
It's-
conditions.
Words matter.
Chemtrails have been chemically analyzed and found to contain Viagra. So yes, the government
She takes a small
is
percentage of some
dosing
ideal
the
that I've
public
never heard
with
of, and
boner pills.
I have
The
never
researchers
heard
found
that.
Neither have
compared to
I.
Users of the science
She's
pages,
explaining
Now, I've
that
heard-
they made it up.
I've heard saltpeter in the Kool-Aid during boot camp.
You guys are
keep
missing
dudes-
the point.
No, but
she
she-
says
she's-
outright that they made it up to make some wacky thing up.
Yeah.
But
They
she's making
paid
it.
trolls.
Yeah.
She's making it an absolute as opposed to all so-called conspiracists. This is their view, right? This is the Viagra and
No,
the.
she
They
says
can't make
that they had
distinctions.
people.
Well, here's
they
a
had
question,
troll
'cause-
accounts make something up. They made something up, and everybody else seems to be internalizing it as if it's about you, and is actually not what she just said it was, which was a troll comment.
So even
It is
if
a
it's a
made-up
troll
thing.
comment, she's still saying it's everybody who buys into this troll comment, right? Like this is what
Well,
everybody.
I haven't seen this
She
video.
said-
She's about to explain
No,
what
she said
happens.
she said the thousands of people
Thousands of troll comments.
who actually post on these types of sites. Question: I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't know about Shauna. I know
Yeah,
you two guys
I am.
are.
I am.
Have you ever posted on an Alex Jones site or
Never,
or
not
any
once.
of these reptile sites or
No,
these
never.
Aliens come
Not
from
once.
space to have us harvest gold?
Not once. I swear on my life, I've never once.
I've only heard the aliens come from space when
But I
people are
should.
explaining why they're not a Christian, as if that's
you
a
should.
big, huge difference.
I should. I need to start commenting more on this.
Well,
shit.
maybe part of the reason is because because these people are really wacky. I
Maybe.
mean, yes, there are some really wacky people, but thousands of that's a very small number.
I had a
because
Coast to
here you
Coast
have
Prime membership.
here you have a segment of the population, 4 of us, and we're all well, I mean, there are a bunch of conspiracies that are very near and dear to my heart that are very plausible.
Sure.
Certain individuals being killed.
Sure.
Being killed off by government. Certain big corporations and companies and lobbyists. Wrecking the dollar and taking control of the environment with money, because money is to be lost at the end of the day, or
Sure.
be lost or made at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, certain wars that were started, certain dictators that were put into place.
The big one's 9/11. I mean, this is
And that's the big one right there.
Well, you look at just
Well, I mean, that started a whole bunch of wars, and that's what I'm saying. There's certain wars that
Incentives.
needed to be fought to make money, to buy bombs and tanks and planes and ships.
Fort
And,
Sumter.
Man, that was a damn good day for the military industrial complex.
Oh yes, it justifies taxation, it justifies bankrupting the middle class, giving it to the contractors who then go back and bribe the politicians. That's
Sure.
That's and then to also make us fearful and to bring down the surveillance state and the police state on. So it had 2 purposes: it's to control us and to and foreign aggression. Yeah, and that.
Getting our money. There's the method of getting our money is to make us fearful, to give up our freedoms for security, which we have to pay for that security.
Yeah.
So the big thing is the fear mongering. That's really what it boils down to, is make us fearful, and we'll pay to be protected from these brown people on the other side of the world who we don't have any clue how they live, or the language, the way they speak, or their motivations. It's just they hate us. So we got to pay to have them killed.
And also the middle class is the strength of the country, and to bankrupt the middle class, which is happening. This is this book I'm reading here. It says, for the first time, less than 50% of people think they're middle class. 45% of people now, that was written in 2013, think they're middle class. And by the way, 7% of people have the loan people chasing after them. Have debt collectors chasing.
And how many of those middle class people who are middle class, who are paying more taxes than they're making during the year, what kind of benefits do they make? What kind of tax breaks do they get? What kind of tax returns do they get? They are probably being hurt more than anyone else.
Yeah, and you know what?
The 1% and or the poor, poverty-stricken types. But yeah, the middle class is just being wiped out. I have never been middle class my whole life.
This and when it comes to the city, when the city taxes your home, and this is happening all over because there's real estate tax all over, when they keep increasing the taxation of your home, that is taking away the last pool of wealth that the middle class has, because the middle class has equity in their home, and when you keep raising the taxes on it,
they can always fall back to their house and grow some crops or raise chickens or rabbits, but they can always fall back to their home. But if they don't even own that,
yeah. And the fact is, the stream of payments to the city now is higher than the stream of payments to the bank that bought the house.
And by the way,
what is she saying about? I don't know what actually ends up happening in the video.
The thugs we opened the show with at Porkfest, prime example. You got these guys. You can't even go out to the campgrounds, out in the boonies, and try to have your own little utopia for a week.
I totally think that's all related to the $500 vendor fee.
Let me go right.
But really, like I said, if they just made it look like it was
All right, let's listen to Miss Pink Hair real quick.
Conspiracy theorists were much, much, much more likely to like and share those unsubstantiated comments. In other words, they couldn't actually tell the difference between satire and quote-unquote real conspiracy theories.
I'll agree.
Some conspiracy theories.
I also can't differentiate between those two things.
Yeah. I would agree. A lot of the type of people who post on these things and follow these things with all their heart, yeah, you know what? There's some nuts out there, man.
As far as the data she's pulled from, to me, it's just whatever this research source wants to, whatever information they want to present, they're going to present, and that's what they're presenting. But anywho, let her.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see the research. This is the echo chambers. I probably.
That's just a video that she wrote, that she made about it.
When I read the headlines originally about how scientists have proven that conspiracy theorists will believe anything, even the most ridiculous made-up things. I really thought that the researchers were going to go above and beyond to come up with something ridiculous. But if you think that clouds of Viagra are ridiculous, you don't know what conspiracy theorists actually believe about chemtrails.
Because they're so spooky.
I've done a video on this before. They actually believe that you can dissipate chemtrails 5 miles in the sky by filling up a squirt bottle with vinegar and spritzing it above your head.
They all think
that.
That's
what they actually believe.
Yeah, they all think that.
That's not what they actually believe. That's
what the government.
That's what a few clowns believe.
One of the other obviously false rumors that the researchers came up with was the idea that a free energy machine has been created, which I'm pretty sure is reported on conspiracy theorist websites at least once a week.
I've been hearing that for years.
Whether or not conspiracy theorists.
Meanwhile, the government has done chemtrails as a matter of undocumented, declassified information
really
where they've done it.
Come up with more ridiculous things.
How
than
ridiculous!
What you
These people
I've got thousands of government documents.
We're talking about people who literally believe that the world economy is controlled by lizard people. Actual lizard people.
See, she's just supporting an argument with absolutes that are just
on scientific studies.
She's making these astronomical blankets
when we're making fun of them.
It's completely sociopathic.
These people actually believe that the government took black people in Tuskegee and gave them syphilis.
It's so manipulative. Her logic that she uses. It's so.
What were they doing to smallpox-infected blankets, Shauna?
They were demonstrating how borders actually matter.
Guys, you've been watching Black Sheep Rising. Please go and visit the website blacksheeprising.org. And there you can find the show notes, everything we just talked about, as well as the audio and the video and the whole nine. I'm having some iTunes troubles right now. My RSS feed is not working. I apologize to the regular iTunes guys. I'll get that fixed as quickly as I can. You can still download the show manually, blacksheeprising.org. Please visit our Facebook page. What the hell? I'm getting like 5-to-1 Shire TV likes to my one Black Sheep Rising like. What the hell's going on? People are still liking Shire TV. I don't understand it, Rapture.
It's whatever YouTube's algorithm is, I'd imagine.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's very strange. I got like 5 people today who like Shire, not today, but this week, they like Shire TV. Shit hasn't been on the show for, on the airs for 2 months. 2 years. Hey, you know what? If you'd like to call me, tell me about the algorithms. I'm getting a little drunk. 267-521-2771 is the phone number. You can leave anything you like. If you would like to leave a message with me, email me at show@blacksheeprising.org. Hey, you know what? If you want to leave some money with this old man, you got 2 links at the webpage. You got a PayPal and a Bitcoin link. I will take anything. And someone gave some money last week. Oh, you know what? I'll get them next month. Shauna, where can people get you?
They can email me at anarcho-osha-madam@blacksheeprising.org.
How freaking
Anarcho and OSHA the same sentence?
Anarcho-osha-madam.
Wow.
That's
Black
how
Sheep,
you gonna
something.
deal with that Rapture? How you gonna follow
Anarcho,
that
I'm
up?
just confused. I'm like speechless. How do we Anarcho OSHA? It's like a, what's it? It's an oxymoron.
Well, first you find a good reason to email me. Then you reconsider.
Leave that email at blacksheep or show at blacksheeprising.org. I'll take care of that. I'll send it to her after I screen it. And I'm looking for that. Rapture, where can people get you?
You can reach me in a narco-capitalist suck my balls. Yes.
They're to temperature, don't worry.
Or Liberty Rapture. Yeah, and there's just some videos on there. I need to make some out. But
Is that your YouTube channel, Liberty Rapture?
It's my Gmail.
Gmail?
Yes.
Gmail? Okay.
Rap shizzle. For shizzle my finizzle. But yes.
Oh, I
Liberty
feel
Rapture.
so bad. I got a donation this month, and God.
This is what happens when you don't tell me you got more money. I would have reminded you.
Joe, where can the people get you, sir?
They cannot.
They can't. Oh, what? Joe, are you gonna be running? Are you gonna run for city council this year?
Yes, I'm going to run for city council.
All right.
Well, then you need to be found.
You're not in my ward. You're not in Ward 4, are you?
Needs to be accessible.
No, I'm going to run.
A floater at large. Well, I'll be running Ward 4 probably. As far as I know, I'm going to have some competition. So we'll see how that works. I can't find the donation. Good God, I'm a horrible guy. Guy who donated, I apologize.
Oh, check out the show Mr. Robot if you guys haven't. Have you guys heard of it?
Mr. Robot? No,
It's
I
starting
haven't
like
heard
up
of it.
on like July 5th, but they have like the what do you call it? The pilot out. It's fucking awesome, and it's kind of very Liberty themed. Check out Mr. Robot. The name is fucked up. It doesn't fit it at all, but check out Mr. Robot. Yes.
I'm still waiting for Chappie to come out.
It's the
in
shit.
theaters.
You'll like it. It's an awesome show.
Yeah, I would like to watch Chappie.
It's
I'm waiting for it to come out. What? Yeah. Download it? Yeah. All right, so hey guys, thank you for watching. Joe, Rapture, Shauna, thank you for being on. You're good guys. You're all good guys.
Thank you for coffee.
We've got this song for you, Zoo and Nyanra. I don't know who these guys are, but they got a nice song. It's called Unforgettable. It's a long 5-minute and 30-second song.
Unforgettable, that's what you are.
Exactly. Everyone at home, thank you for watching. People in live stream, not a damn person in live stream tonight. I am disappointed, but hey, well, that's how it works.
You're kidding. There were no people?
Not this
nobody.
week. Not this week.
I logged in because I thought, I don't know why, and then I closed it out.
Everyone's sleeping it off right now. Everyone's driving home right now.
I sent Janet a link.
Oh.
Janet!
And I sent my sister a link.
Oh.
and you know that they didn't sign up at all?
I just bought me one Missing Social Sunday now.
There was
because Janet knew.
Unless
they would be on. I sent them the link that you sent me, so you would have seen them if they would be on or not.
I checked just now and at the end. So unless they were on sometime in between and logged back off, yeah, they weren't on. Hey,
Janet ain't got time for
if
that.
you didn't do the live stream, I don't hate you. It's hard to watch, man. Because I edited it down. I fit it together. I put all the music and squeeze it, and I don't know. I like the completed version better. The live stream was for the diehards because there was a couple of them, and now they've
all died off.
Yeah, and there's a couple extras, and that's who I do it for. But it's not everyone. It's not for everyone. So hey, you know what? We got to go. Love you. See you next month. Good night. Rah.
So if I said the real reason why this year's Pork Fest was
here
super
it is right
corporate
here.
and rip you off, that's
what's
going to be
playing on the show.
heard.
Yeah, they heard all that.
How dare you?
Okay, well I didn't reveal. So there we go.
Dare you?
Okay.
I'm still
Look at
safe.
these,
Leprechaun.
Well, I like what you said on an earlier show, pretending to be homeless, and I didn't want to do that either.
See?
That was good.
Some people get offended when I point that out.
Is Joe pretending to be homeless?
No, that's last year when I explained why I wasn't going to Pork Fest. Because it's bad vibes to pretend to be homeless and be like, woo, isn't this fun?
Yeah.
Especially now that I live here.
If I go, I would be in a hotel or motel nearby.
I know.
Exactly,
I'm
yeah.
such a silly bastard that way too. Like,
One of the girls I talked to today was like, because I finally just got to wash my hair all week. And I'm like, no, that's not happening with me.
Okay, one more. Reps, tell me something.
yes, go to my hair. Yes, go to Park Festies and wash your hair. Yeah, I would go. I need like one of those motels off to the side because I just like the freedom of being able to just take a shit like in my own place and take a shower and whatnot.
Well, Garrett says that the showers are really good this year, and that's always been the real big
They
problem.
always were. It's just a matter of just hiking. It's just the fact you have to hike, and it's just not right there. But it's not that biggie. Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
There's always like the spider in the corner. You're kind of limboing to keep away from it, even though you know the spider's harmless and it's just there to just help you out.